So I'm Rue, the Mojo coach, and this is Rae, founder of FWP by Rae, which is a beautiful eco-friendly clothing company that's over 5 years old. So we'll learn more about Rae's business later on in the session. But first of all, I want to spend a little bit of time talking to you about the principles of resilience and confidence in business, why we need them, how we can nurture them, and then the latter half of the session we're going to have some real talk with Rae about actually what being resilient and confident in your business looks like, and a little bit about her journey. So if you don't know who I am, then I am a mindset and business coach. Essentially, I work with people who run their own businesses to help them keep their head in the game. So I have a background in business and marketing, and then became a coach nearly 8 years ago now. So I kind of straddle that business know-how, but also understanding how you can make sure you're mastering your mindset and you're not getting in your own way. And today's session, we wanted to shine a spotlight on resilience and confidence, because they are really two essential tools that you need in your toolkit, both professionally and personally. And I'm yet to meet anybody, me included, who just hasn't needed, especially over the last few years, to really look and see how we can dial up our levels of resilience and confidence. So my first question to you today is, are you doing or feeling any of these things? Are you hiding? Are you playing it safe? Are you doubting yourself? Are you just feeling a bit battered by everything that's gone on over the last few years? And think about if you are feeling those things and why you're feeling those things. And first of all, I want to say that absolutely, I'm yet to work with any of my clients who at some point haven't, when they're truly honest, said, yeah, actually, in my business, I am doing this, I am feeling that way. And it's a really rubbish place to be if you stay in this place for too long. And confidence and resilience are your ticket out of this place, of feeling this way. So confidence and resilience, these are words that you hear bandied around all the time. You will be very hard pushed to read a business book, mindset book, listen to a podcast, without these two words popping up very early on. But what do they actually mean? And what they mean to you will be quite personal. So I ran a workshop recently where I asked people what confidence and resilience meant for them. And these are some of the things that they said. So being brave, believing in myself, not giving up, having a voice and using it, pushing out of my comfort zone, being self-assured, and trusting my gut. Now, think about what confidence and resilience mean for you and what they'd look like for you in your business. And why am I talking about confidence and resilience together? That's because they're best friends. Okay, so think about it as the perfect cocktail. When you are confident, you believe in yourself. You believe in your abilities, your competencies. You back yourself. You will get out of your comfort zone. You will do things that will test you, that will push you. That fuels resilience. It gives you the strength to be resilient. And that matters. That matters a lot, because then you're truly empowered with confidence and resilience to really start to fly high in your business, rather than kind of stay stuck in the weeds, play it safe, and things can become stagnant. So whilst it can be very tempting to focus on that killer strategy and maybe the distribution or financing agreements and resourcing, it's essential that you don't take for granted that confidence and resilience is also part of that essential toolkit, as well as some of the things you might see more traditionally in your business toolkit. So why do we need them? Confidence. When you feel confident, you feel empowered to make decisions, communicate well, recognize your value, put yourself out there, and try new things. So what would confidence look like for you in your business? Who would you be working with? What projects would you be kicking off? What collaborations would you potentially be exploring? How would you be spending your time? What would you not be doing that you maybe are now? What would you start doing? So rather than thinking about confidence as this wonderful magic spell that we have, it's not, it's a real thing. This is what it allows you to do. So think about a confident you in your business. What decisions would you be making? How would you be communicating? What would recognizing your worth really look like? Putting yourself out there. What are those things that you would only maybe dream of doing? Or maybe next year, 3 years' time? What about doing it now? So confidence has a real impact on how you show up in your business. Resilience. Why is that so empowering? It enables you to manage overwhelm, which is part of running a business, right? You feel fulfilled and proud. You can be focused and driven, maintain motivation, boost their energy levels, and performance and progress. Essentially, it means that you are a lot less likely to get derailed by the events that are happening around you, because those curveballs will come in life and in your business. So when you can have resilience to help you counter those curveballs. So again, what does that look like for you in your business? How could you maybe start looking at things differently? Would you vary your approach? So again, think about what a resilient you would look like in your business, because it's very personal for each of us in the specific context that we're in. So first of all, I want to bust some myths about confidence. I work with people in a lot of different types of businesses and contexts, and confidence always comes up. And I can guarantee that you may or still be harboring some of these 3 fictitious beliefs about confidence. First of all, it's a lucky trait. It's a trait that some lucky people are born with. Okay, so some people are born confident, right? Oh, I wish I was confident like them. Oh, it just comes so naturally. False. Confident people are arrogant. You know, we all know the type. You don't need to be arrogant to be confident. And you do not have to be an extrovert to be confident. So if you are sitting there thinking, I've just not got what it takes to be truly confident, let me tell you now that that is a self-limiting belief. And that's because confidence is like a muscle, okay? So just think of it as a skill that you would learn like any other skill in life. You need to use it. You need to nurture it. You need to practice using it. The more you use it, the more adept and competent you'll be at using it. If you were to go to the gym once every 6 weeks, you wouldn't get stronger, right? It's the same thing with confidence. If you only push yourself out of your comfort zone every month, every couple of weeks, if you only actually use your voice when you really, really are backed into a corner and you have to, you only are using that muscle when you really need to. It's true that some people find it easier to use this muscle. Some people enjoy using this muscle, just like the gym. They actually wake up and can't wait to get to the gym. They enjoy the gym. They're good at being at the gym. It doesn't mean that they are born with a certain trait. It means that they, yes, like to use that muscle more, but it doesn't mean that you can't use that muscle. So please, everybody, realize that being super confident is absolutely achievable and something that you can nurture within yourself and your business. So what stops us using that muscle? Okay, so I've told you that, guys, you've all got this skill you can use. You've all got this muscle that you can perfect and train. But what's stopping you? If it was that easy, we'd all be walking around super confident, right? We have gremlins that live up here, okay? Everybody has the gremlins. Now, these gremlins get in our way. They trip us up, okay? It's classic self-sabotage. And their voices in our head. We all talk to ourselves. It's how we speak to ourselves. It's the stories that we tell ourselves. It's the words that we use. Now, the reason these gremlins exist is because of the way we're wired. Okay, so some of these narratives, do any of these make sense to you, or do you recognize any of them? These are some of the things that my clients say to me when they are feeling wobbly, when their confidence muscle is feeling weak. I don't know enough. I don't know what to do. Others are better than me. Others are doing so well around me. That comparisonitis, which can be a real confidence gremlin. I'm worried what people are going to think if I do that, if I say that. I need someone else to help me. I can't do this alone. I've bitten off more than I can chew. I am massively out of my depth here. What on earth made me think I could pull this off? And a big one, I'm probably going to fail. That fear of failure. I can't do this. What was I thinking? So they're classic confidence gremlins that I talk to people about. Some of those may ring true for you. You may be thinking of other gremlins right now. But I want to talk to you about what they mean for you. So how can you start to recognise what your gremlins might be. So think about, and don't worry, I'm not going to ask anybody to share, but I would really encourage you to think about this now and on your way home. What are you most afraid of in your business? What maybe keeps you up at night? Or what is something that you really, really would love to do if that fear wasn't taking hold? Now, it might not be a question you've asked yourself before, because we're very good at ignoring all these gremlins. We might hear them chatting away, but actually, honesty and awareness, asking yourself, what are you really most afraid of? Is it making a wrong decision? Is it losing money? Is it being overtaken by competitors? Is it making a wrong decision? But try and be really specific to figure out what it is that evokes that fear, that hesitation. What unhelpful thoughts do you have about yourself in your business? We're going to touch on this a little bit later as well, but really notice what your gremlins are saying. So, what's the narrative? What words are you using? Are you being supportive? Are you being encouraging? Or are you being chastising? Are you being quite mean and harsh? And specifically, what are you telling yourself? I'm not good with people. I'm not good with numbers. A big one for me is I'm rubbish at tech. You know, if anything involves tech, I try and distract and avoid as much as I can. So what are you telling yourself about your abilities, about yourself, your business, the world around you? You need to, first of all, be aware and listening to the self-talk so you can then start to reframe it. And the next question is, what are you doing in your business but wish you were? So I'm sure that you spend a lot of time living in the present, what you're doing in your business right now, what you've got to do today, tomorrow, next week. But how much time do you spend thinking about, actually, what do I really wish I was doing? Because the gremlins, if we let them speak to us, they keep our world really small. They squash our ambitions, our big thinking. They just want you to be nice and safe. So think about, and let yourself think, gosh, what would I really love to be doing in my business right now? And the last one, have a think about this statement. I'm not enough to be truly successful in my business. So this is what I call not enough thinking. In other words, imposter thinking. Imposter syndrome may be a term that you recognise. It's not enough, not clever enough, not experienced enough, not connected enough, not commercially minded enough, not creative enough, not confident enough. Whatever it may be, really think about what is there, an imposter gremlin that is sitting up there undermining your confidence. Because we need to recognise, first of all, you may recognise that you feel a lack of confidence, but we need to understand what that looks like. How is it affecting you? So identify your gremlins. How do you do that? I want you to ask yourself why 3 times. Why are you not doing something that you really want to do in your business? Why are you afraid of the thing that you have identified as the thing that you're most afraid of in your business? Ask yourself why 3 times. And if you've ever worked with a coach, you'll understand the power of why. We annoy our clients by asking why a lot. A minimum of 3 times. So again, if somebody gets offered the opportunity to speak on stage, I can't do that. Why? Why are you scared of public speaking? The first question might be, well, I'm scared I'll forget what to say. Why are you scared what you'll forget to say? Because I'll look stupid and unprofessional. Why are you scared of looking stupid and unprofessional? Because I really am worried and concerned about what my peers and my audience think of me. That's the gremlin. So you're not scared of public speaking. That's the way the confidence gremlin is manifesting itself. That's where it's getting in your way. The real gremlin is that you are telling yourself a narrative that you are not good enough and you have got to prove your worth to your peer and your audience around you. Then you can start to unpick that. Then you can start to reframe that. So please spend some time really thinking about what your real gremlins are and what they're stopping you from doing. I just want to say, I am a northerner, but I wouldn't normally bring a cup of tea on stage. I've had a sore throat all week and I really don't want to cough. So yeah, I'm not just making myself at home. So thanks for bearing with me while I have a cuppa. Okay, so if you've figured out what your gremlins are, okay, that's great. That's step 1. But now we need to challenge them. okay? If we give them a platform, if we give them a voice in our minds, then we're giving them authority, okay? We have to challenge them. Everybody has gremlins. As I said, it's the way we're wired. As human beings, we want to play it safe. We want to keep our brain is wired to keep us safe. I call it the do not die machine. It does not like uncertainty. Uncertainty means danger, risk, I might die. You are not going to die if you create a new account on TikTok. You are not going to die if you diversify into a new range. But your brain lacks contextual awareness. It doesn't distinguish between perceived and actual threats. So you have to challenge the gremlin. You have to just say, whoa, you've got a bit of faulty wiring there, brain. Let me work with you. So challenge your gremlins. Call it out. Ask why. Switch on your rational brain. Because all of these confidence gremlins are being fueled by emotions, and that's what I call emotional hijacking. So think about 3 specific situations where confidence is holding you back in your business. And that's my task for you today. And if you want to follow me on social media, I'll share my details later and you want to message me. But I am asking you that by this time tomorrow, you have spent some time thinking about 3 specific situations where it's holding you back. And it doesn't need to be huge, big strategic areas. It could be really small. It could be, and I say small because it's more tactical, but it could be, I don't go live on Instagram. You know, we've just had a wonderful presentation about how to sell on Instagram, and that may be applicable for some of you. But if you can't show up on Instagram, if you can't engage and storytell to your audience, that will be holding you back. Is it a fear of financial risk? You know, as business owners, there is a real pressure to be financially secure, absolutely. But does that confidence and the gremlins that are talking to you about that financial situation, are they holding you back? Are you playing it safe? Are you, placing quite safe orders? Are you always kind of doing short runs? Whatever it looks like for your business, be really specific about where it's holding you back. And then I want you to match each of those 3 situations with 3 specific actions. So 1 situation, and then I want an action for each one. So how are you going to start to challenge that gremlin? What can you do to start saying, actually, I'm not sure that's true. I'm not sure what you're telling me about being rubbish at tech. I don't know if that is actually true. And if it is, how can I rob you of that power? How can I prove you wrong? Ask for help. Go on a course. Name your gremlin. So I had a tech gremlin, a huge tech gremlin. And last year, I just said, you know what, I'm sick of you sitting on my shoulder, in my head. Because you are when COVID hit, I had never coached anyone online. I had a coaching business just south of Oxford, and people would come and travel, and I was living a very, very happy life. COVID came. I was like, oh my God. Well, if I, all of a sudden, but again, remember I said backed into a corner before I had to use this confidence muscle with tech. If I didn't start flexing this confidence muscle and wrapping my arms around tech, my business would have collapsed within a week. I had to make the move. So there I go, off on my merry little way. And now I have an extremely successful business where I coach people all over the world because all of a sudden I'm not letting tech hold me back. Tech was never holding me back. Newsflash, I was holding me back because I had told myself the narrative that I wasn't good at tech, but then the brain gets really clever because I think your brain is clever enough to say, yeah, but come on. I told myself lots of supporting narratives to support that. You won't be able to coach people as well if you're not in the same room as them. It won't be as valuable. You'll be degrading the service you offer them. Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, stay away from tech crew. Yeah. Can you see your brain is extremely clever? So I called my gremlin out and I spoke to somebody who I knew didn't have a tech gremlin. Tech for them was easy peasy pie. And I lent on them and I moved out of my comfort zone with a safety net, if you like, because I knew my gremlin was going to wait and pounce anytime I messed up on Zoom, anytime I couldn't get the sound to work, when I forgot to record. So think about specific actions, and one action is always to talk about it. Don't let him live in here. Don't let the gremlin just be in here and occupy. Talk to people, your friends, your peers. If you've got accountability buddies or network, say, you know what, I've realised I'm really struggling with X. I've got a gremlin around finances, around resources, around tech, whatever it may be. But confidence isn't enough. As I said, they are best friends for a reason. We need resilience. Resilience is key. Resilience, in really simple language, is not letting setbacks set you back. It's adapting in times of stress. It's about stopping, learning, adapting, moving forward. What resilience is not, it's not endurance. It's not keeping going regardless. It's not head down, I can't stop, I can't give up. You will burn out, you'll become demotivated, and you'll get very, very tired. So making sure that you aren't confusing for, I've just got to keep going, I've just got to keep going. Resilience is about being very aware and understanding what you can learn from the past and how you can move forward with it. I love this quote. I'll let you read that. I won't necessarily read it out for you, but I think that sums up perfectly the difference between resilience and endurance. It's not fighting. It's not carrying on whatever. It's about adapting. It's about evolving so you can survive. It's about thriving, not surviving. I can't talk about resilience and not talk about waves. And if you want to check out my blog after this, if this interests you, there's a whole piece on resilience and surfing. The waves are going to keep on coming, right? And some of them are going to be massive. Some of them you're going to see coming and go, there's no way I can ride that wave. Oh my goodness, that's like no other wave I've seen before. Or it may just be that there's a lot of waves coming and you're shattered. You're like, I've already been riding out here for so long. Learning how to ride them. So I'll often say to clients, when we have a wave that's crashed or we can see on the horizon, how to prepare. Where do your feet need to be? Where do your eyes need to be? What can you learn about the previous waves that you have just surfed? Think about how you can keep on moving while those waves are there and not keep on getting bashed off your surfboard. Now, when we talk about resilience in practical terms, I want to talk about the seesaw. So resilience is a dynamic state, okay? It keeps on evolving and moving. That's because our challenges keep on coming. Okay, and they'll be different every time, and there'll be different magnitudes, and there'll be various different things. So you have challenges on one side and resources on the other. We have to make sure that as the challenges change and increase, our resources can match it. Otherwise, we end up where we're in this real pit of the waves are just crashing, and you go under. It's really important that you understand that resilience is dynamic. We have to keep an eye on our resources. What do they look like? So challenges can be resourcing. Right now it can be low customer confidence. It can be finances. It can be changing buying habits. It can be supplier chain. What do resources look like? So resources can be mental and physical. Yes, it's employees, it's cash flow, it's stock, it's assets, it's capabilities, it's time, but it's also mindset. It's, are you sleeping enough? Are you eating? Do you have the right people around you? So let's just take a look at some typical challenges that you might recognize. Cost of living at the moment, low consumer confidence, suppliers through COVID, through Brexit. A lot of my clients, these are the things that are keeping them up at night. These are the things that they are having to navigate. Often challenges can come because business is great, workload, increased demand. Challenges don't always need to be because times are bad and it's negative. It can be, and I know a lot of my clients through COVID saw a huge swing in demand, especially online retail, and they weren't set up for that. So that was a challenge, or even though it was a positive turn of events that was happening for them. Resources, we always look at people in your business, people outside your business, people for you. Knowledge, do you have skills gaps, knowledge gaps? How can you outsource, delegate, train? Rest, are you sleeping? Are you eating? Are you exercising? Are you re-energizing? Finances, are you looking at what is available for you? Are there other ways that you can finance your business to help you with certain challenges? And time. I'm yet to meet any business owner, myself included, that doesn't feel that they don't have enough time, that they can just clone themselves. But the reality is time is a resource and it isn't unlimited. So being able to make sure that you are ring-fencing your time, boundaries, time management, not saying yes to everything, saying no. This is all going to help you build up your resilience resources. It might sound quite tactical, but they are the things on a day-to-day basis that is going to build a resilient business. So before we start chatting to Rae, I want to finish and talk about the 4 pillars, the 4 R's. I love a little framework to kind of hook some of this onto. The first one is recognise. What's your self-talk when things don't go to plan? How are you showing up? Recognise what you're doing in your business. Typically, how are you thinking at the start of a day? When a customer maybe wants to return something, or you get a negative review, or things don't sell as quickly as you thought they would, or projects are being slow, what are you saying to yourself? Are your gremlins loud and proud, or have you got them nice and managed and they know their place? Are you supporting yourself? How are you showing up for your business? Are you putting your best foot forward? Reason. So challenge any negative and unhelpful thoughts, and you do that by switching on your rational brain. Very simply, we have an emotional brain and a rational brain, and all of the confidence gremlins, it's part of being emotionally hijacked. It's fear, it's worry, it's concern. It will allow you to stop using your rational brain. So rational brain looks for facts, figures, rationally. Look for reasons where you can start to create positive, empowering thoughts rather than negative thoughts. Reality check. So check in with reality. We've talked a lot about, a lot of this narrative is fictitious. So reality check. What's true, what's not true. Stick to the facts. But also, what can you control? You know, you may be worrying about something that you have no control or influence over. So check in with reality, the here and now. Where can you really have an impact on what's worrying you? And the final one is reframing. So wear a lens that's going to help you build a helpful approach and actions. So how do you start doing that? There's lots of ways to reframe your mindset. The easiest one, and something that I think Rae and I will talk about shortly, is using different words, changing your vocabulary. Okay, so reframing a situation. An event is an event. You know, there's the famous Charles Swindoll quote that says, life is 10% what happens and 90% how you react to it. That's all about how you frame it, the lens that you choose to wear. So you can, if the fear gremlin is out to play and you are gripped with fear, those feelings of dry mouth, wobbly legs, butterflies in your tummy, those feelings are exactly the same if you were exhilarated and excited and nervous. Your brain is telling you, I'm scared, I've made a mistake, this is going to go wrong. That's fear. Take that lens off and put on the positive, helpful lens of, whew, I feel alive, this is exhilarating, whew, I'm doing something out of my comfort zone, let's see where this goes. Can you see how that reframing, it's exactly the same situation, it's exactly the same physiological response that your body is having to an event. It's how you frame, how you perceive it, the messages and the stories and the narrative that you feed into your brain. Reframing is one of the quickest and easiest ways to start mastering your mindset. So now we are going to talk to Rae. Very quickly, I wanted to talk you through to remember, identify your confidence gremlins. There's not a silver bullet. You can't take a course on confidence and woohoo, you'll be Mrs. Confidence, Mr. Confidence. It's about understanding what confidence means for you in your business and what gremlins do you have. Challenge them. Start being very specific and start saying, well, actually, are you true? Are you hooked onto fear and hesitancy? Am I being emotionally hijacked? And then how can I challenge you? How can I start to mute you? How can I start to stretch out of my comfort zone? Do things that scare me. Do hard things. Try new things. Think about this seesaw. You know, it can be a really great exercise right here, right now, to where you are now, and then kind of do quarterly or monthly, a piece of paper, draw a line down the middle. What are your current challenges? What are your projected future challenges? What are your current resources? What are future resources that you could build? Start to recognize this stuff. Again, resilience isn't just this, oh yeah, today I felt really resilient. Oh, I managed that really well. Oh, I was really resilient with that challenge. No, it's because you had the right resources to match that challenge and meet it, to be able to navigate it. And embrace the four R's that we've just talked about. Recognize, take a reality check, and reframe. So without further ado, Rae's been sitting here very patiently, listening to me and probably hoping like me that I wasn't going to cough. But I want to talk about Rae. I was really keen that I talked to somebody who actually will have Gremlins and operates in the retail space about what that looks like for her in her business. But first of all, I don't know if you want to spend just 60 seconds explaining your business and what you do and who you are.
Yeah, I mean, hello, I'm Rae. And I've got a small business, FWP by Rae. I basically design and make sweatshirts, T-shirts, some with slogans, and then I also do dresses and blouses. But I started doing the slogans on the T-shirts and sweatshirts and then ended up manufacturing myself and expanding the brand. And, of course, with that, just threw up a load more challenges and a load more gremlins, I've got to be honest with you. And I still find it challenging daily. So I do have to work around quite a lot of things in here in order to push myself forward. So it was really interesting when Rue said, oh, you know, do you want to sit up here and do this with me? And I was like, how long have you got then? Because, it's...
But you said yes straight away.
I did say yes straight away, which I think maybe a few years ago I wouldn't have done. I'd have been like, why have you chosen me? Well, I did actually say that to you. Why have you chosen me out of everybody else?
Yeah.
Because I will always have that, and that's the confidence thing.
So what would you say your most significant or memorable confidence gremlins have been in the past, or that you're kind of are hooking you by the arm at the moment? Are there any gremlins that you think are really quite prevalent for you now?
It's always the decision making on a new design, I think, because anything that isn't tested and trialed, you always think, is this going to be good enough? Is this going to sell? You know, why is somebody going to buy this over something else? I love it. Will they love it? And I think sometimes I overthink things to the point that they become crippling, and I don't move forward. Yeah. So that's something I probably deal with quite a lot.
So that's interesting. So that's so it's recognising that gremlin, and again, that's quite natural. And as a business owner, we're passionate. You care. You want your customers to buy from you, but also really they're loyal to your brand. That you don't want to disappoint them.
Exactly.
So that's never going to go away because that's who you are.
Yeah.
That's what makes you such a brand that people connect with.
Yeah.
So rather than fight that and let that fuel a gremlin, you know that when you let that take control, it stops you, because actually you say, sometimes you don't launch something, or you're too slow to launch something.
I've sat on something once for 2 years because I just didn't have the confidence to put it out there, because it was moving away from my traditional kind of just word slogans, and I was going into graphics. Yeah. And I just thought, my customers, it's a bit of a step for them. They might not like it. And every time I looked at it, I saw another tiny flaw in it. So I'd just push it to one side and move on with something else. And it ended up being one of my biggest sellers ever when I did launch it. So it's just, and then I'm just like, you idiot. Yeah.
So have you taken that on board? Have you allowed yourself to say, I can't let that happen again?
Yes. Yeah. And I have had to listen to my gut a lot more as well, because my gut was saying, put it out there, put it out there, put it out there. Yeah. And then there was something going, no, because they're not going to like that.
Yeah.
So I have learnt to do that a little bit more now. It's definitely something I really listen.
And it's interesting, the thing I was talking about tech and how my brain started giving me lots of reasons why I should stay away from tech. Your brain as well. But this might be a big two-step for the customers. The customers might not like it. Well, of course, they could open up a whole new customer base that do like graphics.
Yeah.
So again, but your brain isn't allowing you to look at the seed of opportunity and growth. It's too busy focusing on you might mess up.
Yeah.
So can you think of any ways that you've been able to keep that gremlin under control?
Well, I definitely, I talk to other people, so I do discuss things now rather than just bury it. Mm-hmm. I do focus groups as well with my key customers, because I have loyal customers, so I feel that I've got enough of a relationship with them that I can put things in front of them.
Yeah.
And I guess I do a lot more research, but I tend to know a bit myself a bit more now as to what I think I can sort of step into, or at least test,
Yeah.
rather than just bury it.
See, that's your confidence muscle growing, though.
Yeah.
But can you see how you've given examples there of how rationally you do research, you talk to customers, you do focus groups?
Yeah.
That's the rational brain, because the fear of people not buying it and not liking it, that's emotional hijacking. So anything you can do to switch out of that emotional hijacking phase and switch into the rational brain. So always looking for evidence and facts. So when it comes to specific challenges within your business, I mean, gosh, I'm sure you could talk all day, especially with...
Which one?
Well, exactly. I mean, the obvious ones are, Brexit, COVID, but you've been on a real journey, and you've also, great diversification from where you were, maybe even 12 months ago. I mean, Rae, one of the dresses, this is one of Rae's creations that she's wearing, but that was last year. Is that even a year old when you launched?
That was this summer, but I launched dresses last year, and I did it literally as we were starting to come out of COVID. COVID, for me, actually, it did help my business, but as you said, a lot of challenges came with that.
Yeah.
So the whole kind of production line just almost ground to a halt, and I had to find new ways to, whereas my customer base grew because suddenly had a captive audience because everybody was at home, everybody was on Instagram, people who didn't usually use Instagram were on Instagram, so my business was out there. But then what happened is that because of COVID, the production line just almost ground to a halt. So I had to find new ways to actually get product to the consumer. So that was quite a challenge. But it's helped me along the way, if you see what I mean. It forced me to do something I probably wouldn't have done before. I wouldn't have looked for a new printer. I wouldn't have looked for new ways to source. I wouldn't have looked for new manufacturers. I'd have just sat in my comfort zone, as you said.
So in a way, it's looking at that wave. At the time when that wave came, you were like, actually, I don't want you to be here. This is a nightmare. I'm not sure I'm going to actually survive this wave.
Yeah, exactly.
But you have.
Yeah.
And actually, not only have you just survived, your business is in a much stronger position because that wave came and you surfed the wave. So I think it's all about the more waves that you do surf, the more confidence that you will get.
Yeah, I truly believe that, because you can very easily just sit back and go, oh, I can't do this isn't going to happen.
Yeah.
But other challenges within my life, I'm a single parent as well, by the way, so I'm the only breadwinner in the house. That challenge is I can't afford to sit back and not look.
Yeah.
I have to force myself to look at how I'm going to overcome that.
Yeah.
So
that's that backed into the corner. You have to earn money.
Yeah.
But again, that emotional pressure is you may also find yourself playing safe because you can't afford to have a month or a delay in a project or invest heavily in a certain thing.
Yeah.
So can you think of, talk us through any specific resources that you think that you have built up to meet the challenges? So what have you got in the business?
Well, do you mean as in the fact that how I've grown it and how?
Yeah. So to meet the seesaw of the challenges. So I know you're not a lot. You employ.
Yeah. So I have somebody who works for me who helps me with the orders. So that sort of helped me get on with other stuff.
Yeah.
I did start to produce more garments so that I didn't run out of stock. So that was the other challenge, is that I was running out of things, and because of the delays, I couldn't turn around new stock as fast. So I started to produce more. But when I produced more, I realised I couldn't actually fit it all in my house. So that was another thing, was what am I going to do? I need to get somewhere to store this. That's expanding, and that's more money, and that obviously made me go, oh, I can't do that. So I did that, signed a 6-month contract and said I might only need it for a few months, and I'm now on my 3rd room because it's just grown so much. So stepping into that allowed me to have more space to produce more stock and to just start to build.
It's an interesting one, isn't it? Because your growth, in a way, sounds like it's come with you sometimes trying to put the brakes on, but you've still grown. So and it sounds like it's been quite a stressful period.
Incredibly stressful, yeah. But you're right. It's like having those two devils on the good devil and the bad devil, which is what you're talking about, but in your head it's the same thing. One's saying one thing, and you've got to really force the other one, like flex that muscle to bash down the other side and step forward.
Yeah. So what would you think moving forward for you and your business for the next 6 months? So I'm not going to ask us to go through all the questions we talked about, but what do you think, where would you love to be in 6 months' time? What do you think it's, and I don't mean necessarily in terms of sales, but confidence-wise, what would you like to be, how would you like to be showing up in your business?
It is confidence, actually, because for me, that's my biggest holdback, is I have enough ideas to put forward and to get my manufacturers working on, but it's that fear of, what if I spend that money and that doesn't work? So they're my challenges. My goal in 6 months' time is to have a more concise collection when it comes to the dresses and the blouses, rather than being too afraid to try a new sleeve or to try a new shape. Oh, well, that won't fit everybody. It's never going to fit everybody. I can't please everybody, and I have to learn that. I have to learn that, because I'm a bit of a people pleaser. That's the other thing. I get so many messages from customers going, "Oh, I love that, but it'd be much nicer. Could you put a pocket on it, or could you do it in pink rather than in navy, or And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'll have a look." But I know I can't do that, because I need to be able to. So I have to have that rational talk that I'm not going to upset everyone. That I am actually going to please quite a few people. So it's just telling myself that.
And that links into that finding your voice.
Yes.
Say, actually, where do I want this brand to go? What do I want? Where do I want the business to evolve, and what do I want it to be? Because you'll always have people, whether it's customers or investors or even people that aren't involved in your business, that say, "No, if I were you, I'd do that." Or, "Why didn't you do that?" And I always say to clients when they are talking to me about, "Oh, that's because that person is coming from a different context, different gremlins, different levels of confidence and resilience, different experiences." And it's having real clarity on saying, "No, but what do I want to achieve?"
Yeah, it's learning to say no.
Boundaries.
Yeah. It's definitely putting boundaries in, absolutely.
Yeah. But also learning to say no to the gremlin. So learning to say no when your gremlin says, "You can't do that, Rae. That's too far, that's too off-piste. That's going to be too much of a leap for your customers." It's learning to say, "No, actually, gremlin, be quiet." And we all talk to ourselves, and I know some of you follow me, I often will come on Instagram and chat on my dog walks, and you are the same. We love doing our stories on our dog walks.
I do talk rubbish, best not follow him.
But it's a great time for reflection, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a great time to actually think about, okay, where am I holding myself up? Where am I tripping myself up? And what can I do about it? And I think just having that dialogue with yourself and being honest with yourself, because the gremlins are always going to be there. You're always going to be worried that customers aren't going to like your designs.
Yeah.
You're always going to be worried that actually, is that going to stretch me too far financially? But I think it's realizing that your business may not be here if you don't flex those muscles. Because without confidence and resilience, going back to the beginning, you can have the best business plan. Without confidence and resilience, your business will literally wilt away. Because it needs you at the centre of it, driving it forward. Do you want to add anything else before we open up for Q&A? Anything that you're burning to get off your chest?
Don't think so.
No. Would anybody like to ask any questions for me or Rae, or any comments at all, or anything when it comes to confidence or resilience in your business? And also a round of applause just because I've not coughed. First of all, I am breathing a huge sigh of relief about that. Anything at all that anyone would like to share or ask? Oh, thank you. Oh, you've got a mic coming to you now, I think. Oh, no, thank you.
Well, I always got told that confidence is when you walk in a room, it's whether you like them people, not if they like you. So just be confident.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's that validation, isn't it? Having that internal validation. So Rae said, I know this design is good. I like this design. You've gone through several iterations of it. It's that internal validation, because if you're looking for external validation, that will always undermine.
And if you love it, everyone will love it as well. So I'm going to start my business, because that was a very good talk.
Oh, thank you very much. Oh, good.
Extremely
Good luck. Oh.
Hi, ladies. Good afternoon. My name is Lorraine. I have an online boutique, and I operate mainly on Instagram. I think where I need more confidence is I operate as pre-orders. So I could relate when you're saying that you always get different requests from clients and you want to please everybody.
Yeah.
But where I'm struggling is how do I have the confidence to keep the stock instead of having orders made as per order?
I think that if you're clear to the customer as to how long they have to wait, this is what I've found anyway. If you're really honest and truthful and they really want it, they'll wait. I think I do pre-orders as well, but I do have quite a clear indication of when that's going to come. So, for example, I knew that this wasn't going to leave India until a certain date, and then I had to add on. So I did put it up for pre-order before it was even in the UK, but I knew when it was coming, so I just keep that communication level with my customer because, yeah, you don't want to let them down. You don't want them to go, oh, God, they're going to hate me because it's not here on that day. As long as you keep that flowing, you don't have to fill your house with, stock beforehand, because obviously cash flow is key, right? You don't want to end up with a load of stock and then you can't actually move on and buy anything else. So I just think communication, as long as if they want it, they'll be willing to wait. And if they can't wait that long, then, they won't buy it. But I think it's a good business model, actually.
Yeah, I just make sure that it is a business model that is commercially sound, that you're not doing it because the fear is so much that you can't take a risk, because obviously you do pre-order alongside holding stock. So you operate it with a new drop of a new release in it. And we were talking about this last week. It actually is quite an effective tool to build demand and exclusivity.
Excitement, actually.
This is landing. And also it's great because then you've got orders for when it lands. So it'd be interesting for you to just really be honest with yourself, to say, actually, am I doing that because I'm really risk averse? I don't want to, take any risk at all financially with ordering any stock? Or is it just because it makes sense for you and the business you're in?
Or you could do half and half.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Any more questions, anyone?
No.
Yes.
Hi.
Hiya.
When you said you did expand and you started to hold more stock and you got one room, then 3 rooms, what was that? Was that storage containers, or where did you actually store the stock?
I just got a normal storage place that you would if you were going to move house and lock it up for you can do that. They've got all different size rooms. But for me, because a lot of the product that I get, I do different designs on it. So I pre-make the sweatshirts or the T-shirts or whatever, but I can't hold them all pre-print or pre-embroidery. So I needed the space. So in order to allow me to expand, I just went to the local sort of place. And you'll be surprised at how many businesses actually operate out of those as well.
Okay.
Some people go and do their orders in there. Quite grim, but it happens. I don't.
And again, if you follow Rae, you'll see that sometimes she's boiling hot in the summer going, oh my God, the storage container. And sometimes she's wrapped up,
Yes,
freezing.
Yes. I do sometimes Instagram from in there as well. I'm in the orange room again.
But I do think as well that is about a myth about you have to jump from, kitchen table business through to huge premises.
No.
Absolutely not. And remember, everything you see on social media, we didn't talk about triggers as well for Gremlins in terms of external triggers. Social media is a massive one, especially for comparisonitis.
Yeah.
People are showing you the show reel. They are showing you a very curated image. There is no business that is not being the swan. Very graceful on top, and they are paddling away like Billy O. So it's an absolute myth that, they may make out that they're off to their facility and their offices.
I know, I'm warts and all. I show you the dirty hands and the mess and the baby wipes in a bag because it's just grimy.
But
and then you go home and wash and do all the nice packing and sending it out to the customers. That's not off the big ironing board.
The great thing actually with you, I think you are confident enough to show that warts and all, because people do build a relationship with the brand.
Yeah.
And people like you and trust you and see what's happening. As long as the service is top-notch, beautifully packaged, on time, you know, which Rae is, superb customer service, it's quite nice and enlightening for people to get to know what's actually going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, because it's realistic and it's you like you say, it's not all shiny.
Yes.
It really, really isn't. But the product is, and that's the most important bit. The product's nice and shiny, and that's well made, and that's, you know, but everything behind it, it's, you know, it's production at the end of the day. Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Oh, we'll come back to you.
Oh, no, go to that lady.
Oh,
Are you sure?
oh.
We've got plenty of time.
Oh, got lots of time. I was listening to your talk. I believed if you aim somewhere, you get there. Your clothes, which sound beautiful.
Thank you.
Where's your vision? Where do you want to be selling them in M&S?
No.
Is there? Can I?
I mean, I've always kept it small. I don't
Right.
have a vision to be huge and big, because with a big, huge brand becomes
No,
big,
no,
huge
not big,
costs,
not
but-
big, a small.
Or to be in. I'm quite happy to. I'd like to have a couple more people helping me. I'd like to expand the brand as far as have a few extra lines, but be consistently good but small.
Well, I don't know you, but I think you're better than. Is it Jaeger? What's his name?
Oh, yeah.
Jaeger. Jaeger. Jae.
Yeah, yeah.
They're in M&S. I just thought you would
Aw.
be. So
Thank you.
I can imagine you with a little concession in Selfridges. No?
So expensive.
Is it?
Yeah.
Hello.
First of all, it was a great talk.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm currently running a business, and I've got a question especially for Rae. And this question is, do you have any secret way of overcoming challenges in your business, and any steps you might take and prioritize first?
Secret, there's nothing secret, definitely not. And I said to Rue, actually, one of the things I do, which isn't effective long term, is I do walk away from things. So sometimes, especially for a design, if I'm working on something and I sit and look at it for too long, I can talk myself out of it. I can over confuse myself. So I shut it down and I walk away from it. But I do that in a few other things as well, because it's just too much, so I leave the room. But I have started doing yoga in the morning to try and get only 15, 20 minutes before the mad school run and everything's, you know, goes crazy, just to try and sort of settle myself a little bit. It's like Rue said, it is mind over matter. I can talk myself in and out of things. So I think I've learnt over the years to retrain my thinking. But it's not always easy, or to talk it through with somebody. I'm lucky that I have Lindsay who works with me, and if she's quite level-headed. She was a primary school teacher.
Oh, gosh.
And she's very good at just going, okay, Rae, just listen to this, and let's just look back at that. And so I think it's very good to bounce things around as well, to talk about it and just don't hold it in.
I would say that's in terms of support. So Rae and I met through a female entrepreneur group that we've been in now for several years, but having people around you, so peers that you can trust, you can be honest, you can talk about people. The challenge that you are facing in your business right now, somebody else will have faced and overcome.
Yeah.
So ask for help, ask for input, ask for insight.
Yeah.
I think trying to do it alone makes it incredibly hard.
Yeah.
And also that helps challenge the Gremlins, because the Gremlin will tell you that you're rubbish at this, you're not making a good go at this, which is absolutely rubbish. Some things are really hard and complex.
Yeah. And try and bond with other small businesses in a similar arena as well, because that's the other thing that I've done. I've got really good relationship with definitely one or two other very, very similar businesses. And even last night we were out for dinner, and you know, it's amazing how they're going through the exact same thing, and you can bounce ideas off each other. It's not all competition, you know, a lot of it is sharing as well, because, you know, we're all kind of in the same boat. We're all some days going through exactly the same kind of mindset. So I think, yeah, definitely find somebody to talk to.
Just like you would run your business, you go, right, I need a business plan, I need an accountant. Right, I need to hire, I'll get an HR function. It's just the same. Your mindset is an important part of
Definitely
your toolkit.
get an accountant.
would definitely get an accountant, but I would say also get people that you can work through this stuff with, whether it's a coach, a mentor, a peer group, accountability buddies. This stuff isn't just going to happen by itself. And running your business shouldn't be like walking through bloody treacle, you know. This is enjoyable. You've picked this route for a reason. So, you know, don't make it harder than it needs to be.
Yeah.
Exactly. Focus on progress, acknowledge what you are doing well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Any more questions this side? No.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.